All right. Welcome back to Footwork. I'm Sean.
And I'm Dylan. What are we talking about today, Shawnee?
So today we're going to piggyback off of the highlight video and CV episode
Yeah.
that we released last week. Combines, invite-only tryouts, open tryouts.
If you're not like coming out and getting offers, like, we weren't, it's kind of a rite of passage. And yeah, we're gonna break some down that we've done, ones we've heard about, things you should be looking for,
Tips.
prices, tips, all this. I mean, we've done a handful, but there's also a handful we haven't done.
Right.
So we're gonna do what we usually do and pretend that we're experts and just talk our shit today.
Combine is basically, or what it's advertised as, is you pay money. You pay a certain amount of money that can range from $100, $200, $250, $500, and you go and play for a certain number of days at a field where there are scouts from teams, U.S. teams, European teams. I mean, really anywhere in the world, there can be scouts
for each
from
one.
there.
It depends on who.
And then you play well, and the idea is that they will then invite you over. Usually, it can be for a direct contract. This, once again, it depends on the combine. They can offer you a direct contract right there, or they say, "Okay, come on over. Now we want to give you a trial with the team."
Look, you have no power. You have zero power coming out of this. Like Sean and I, we had a few connections, but zero power. For some reason, US, we don't like to use our eyes very much for like the present. We like to go off of like what it says on this paper. So where did he play? I don't think any of these guys are listening to this, whoever runs this combine. If they are, I really don't care, because InfoSport, which, you pay a lot to sign up, maybe 400 players, something like this. So like 11 coaches, 12 coaches.
Yeah.
For this one, these coaches are going for a paycheck because they have the MLS combine right after you. So this mass email combine that they send it out to all the coaches, you're getting tons of D3s, tons of D2s, tons of the smaller D1s. And, I'm going in there thinking I have a real shot. Kind of naive to it, telling people like I'm going on professional tryouts, because
we didn't know any better.
We didn't know any better. And a lot of the time when you're starting out, it's nice to have that attention. So like the clout is kind of nice.
Add up 1 + 1 and realize what's going on. And I wound up going to, my cousin lived out in Portland, so I went to Portland Timbers 2. The USL team had an open tryout.
How was the level?
Players who cannot play at all.
Okay, yeah.
And then there was one player that, like, he didn't get signed, and because he didn't get signed, I'm convinced like it was never going to sign. Like the problem is when you have a lot of bad players in an event like this, and they don't group you together with the better players, and you're grouped with bad players, you can't show everything you could do. I realized, okay, I need to be a little smarter with this. It was very cool to train in the Timber Stadium for 3 days.
Those 3-day tryouts are pretty damn wearing. So
yeah,
I guess one positive from that is knowing how to take care of your body from both of these bad experiences.
We did Soccer Pass first. That was in the summer.
We did Soccer Pass. Okay, let's do Soccer Pass first. So that was in the summer. I know that it wasn't a very expensive combine. I think for a lot of these, it's important to know people who have done it or seen people who have done it, and they can vouch for like the owner or the runner.
Yeah.
So Fabian he's a great guy. Not alone, he's not doing this to take your money. But there's costs involved with all of these things.
Sure,
these guys can't do it for free, and this is what you have to understand.
I mean, their time is money, number one. So you're never gonna get something for free. It worked out for me. I got something for Portugal, but that didn't turn out to be actually great with timing and everything.
Yeah, but still.
But cool experience and
good connection.
The connection with Fabian actually wound up getting me into Mongolia. And that brings us to soccer visa. So we did this in September.
Got me a contract in Australia without having to go on trial. So Joe Funicella there, it's a very, very, determined entrepreneur kind of guy. And so they've changed. They try and see what works and what sticks. When we were doing these combine sessions, it was a 3-day combine. One of the things I always liked about Soccer Visa was that they marketed it as like, you're going to learn a lot here. Talk to every single person. There's a line at the end, and they go and they talk to him, and he says 1 or 2 things, and, he's brutally honest with you sometimes. I've been to 2 of them. The first time, he's like, dude, you're a baller. The second time he's like, He's like, you didn't show me the same shit as last time.
Foosball project.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I did that and went to the combine in New York City. Afterwards, after the 3 days, Max, one of the main guys, spoke to everyone, gave feedback, immediate feedback. Basically said, head over to Germany immediately. And then eventually Dill came here. So through the grapevine, that's how Dylan basically got to Germany as well.
Honestly, yeah, I have to thank Foosball Project too. I mean, really one of the forgotten things, but one of the biggest things about these combines is that you meet very like-minded people and very like-minded athletes who are trying to get the same exact thing as you. What can you do in these combines that can really set you up for later?
Yeah, so this is an important point getting into the professional game in general. And this could even be in the youth or in college as well. Every time you play, whether it's pickup, a real game, the players that you're playing against or with are potential like connections for you for the future.
Every single one.
Okay, so with Soccer Visa, he said that in the beginning, like just because we're not going to get you a contract today or get you with a team, there might be a player here that thinks you're a good player. You get chatting with him. You become friends. He likes the way you play. He goes and signs for a team. They're looking for a player your position. He makes a phone call, and that's it. So because I already knew him, I already played with him for a week. I've seen him play. Saw him in Virginia once, then saw him in Portugal. I want him on my team. If I'm going to Mongolia, he's a player I want.
Yeah.
Right? And I said before we started, like, dude, this is the deal. Knowing these things and knowing that players can always be a possible connection, it's a really important thing. And even in Germany here, that's happened many times with me, is that teams, friends of friends, knows a coach. They basically background check me with the player, and then that's it. As long as they confirm what they see in the field, then it's like, okay, we want them. And that's
I mean, coaches trust players. And I see it more than anything else is players will stick out, like they'll stick their necks out for other players, especially if you don't play their position. So what do they have to lose? If they think you're a good player, you come in and you're playing a different position. Sean's a center back. I'm a center mid or a winger or whatever. Like if he thinks I'm good enough to play and make his team better, that's going to make Sean look better. So these players will always do this.
It's so important. And you never know when you're going to be the person on the end waiting.
Yeah.
You're reaching out to people who you know are playing, being like, hey, you have any idea of a team or a country or a league that you think might have an opportunity? And
dude, I mean, you think about it, like if you're going to play abroad and you're with a bunch of foreigners, it can be quite tough if you don't have someone who's from your country who doesn't speak like the language. Right. So like I would love if, I mean, obviously they spoke the language in Australia, but I would have loved if another one of you guys came out with me. Just like it was nicer in Sweden because I was with some Americans, and just like it was much easier to integrate into Germany because I was living and playing with you.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times it makes the person happier off the field and on the field because you can benefit them in tons of different ways.
This is so we can from here we can go on how to act at a combine or open tryout. Outside the facility, inside the facility, around the facility, in the local area. This is all a job interview. You don't know who sees you. You don't know who you might go into a supermarket and the scout is there.
So what's something that you should definitely not be doing when you're at a combine?
Turn your phone off. You don't need to be on your
freaking phone off.
You just pal. I hope you're listening to this. We're in Virginia, and Luis Boamorte has like 90 caps for Portuguese national team. Played for Arsenal. Played for West Ham. Scored a ton of goals in the Premier League, and he's like making two teams for a full field 11v11, and he's like Vinny in goal, and Vinny is eating a banana, scrolling through nothing on his phone.
Probably Twitter.
And he said it like again, and then Pell did the and he's like, get in goal. And at that point,
with a mouthful of banana.
At that point, you knew, okay, that's he probably just lost any shot he had.
A lot of the times it's okay, he's a good player, but is he going to stick it out for a season abroad? Looking at a lot of things in these
Are
combines.
You complaining on the field? Are you complaining off the field? Are you complaining? It's an immediate. If I hear a player doing that, I'm not putting my neck out for them because I know when they get abroad into a tough situation, what are they going to do? They're probably going to quit.
So obviously the main thing in all of
You
these
have to
is you
play
have to
well.
ball.
You have to play well.
Common sense. Are they providing real and reachable opportunities?
It's a networking event. So
Networking.
of course you have to play well. Of course you have to be
Mhm.
fit. But
Mhm.
understand that the entire time you're at this event or around the event, you are talking to people, networking, talking to coaches, talking to players.
Red
A lot
flag.
of this just comes with experience. I've been doing tryouts since I was like 10. So
we spend a lot of money and
it's
we
kind of all the same
know
thing.
exactly what you have to do. And we know, sometimes you have to take the risk, be
Yeah.
mindful, but sometimes you can take the risk.
And with that, I mean, how we end the podcast every episode, this is how your attitude needs to be when you're at these combines.
Mm-hmm.
Keep moving forward, keep learning, make your own path. I mean, that's basically. Wait, hold on a second.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Footwork Podcast is sponsored by ourselves, but not for long. But we're in partnerships with Merchant Designs, Kong Fitness, and much more.
Well, Head of Mustaches too. I mean, we got to give him a shout out.
Of course.
But really, keep plugging and passing. Follow us, Twitter, Footwork Podcast.
Instagram at Footwork_podcast. Also our own Instagrams. Sean, what's yours?
At Sean Vinberg.
And mine is at Dylan, 2Ns_Williams. Had to make it tough on you.
2Ns.
Yeah. But
our YouTube channel.
Footwork
Please
Podcast.
subscribe
Easy.
at Footwork Podcast. That's an easy one.